The Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents are designed to amplify and support high-quality Tier 1 instruction for multilingual learners and other diverse populations, including multilingual learners with disabilities. This suite of resources includes an overview document describing the rationale, purpose, and navigation of the documents, and 18 documents organized by content areas of English language arts, math, science, and social studies by grade level bands spanning elementary, middle, and high school. The overview document serves as a useful introduction to the vision, purpose, and theoretical foundations of English learner education in Nevada. This overview document also explains the language tools used in the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents, as well as the purpose of each section and the language tools used throughout. The overview begins with a vision statement for multilingual learner education in Nevada. The state of Nevada is committed to the social and academic success of its multilingual learner students. It is the vision of the state of Nevada that all multilingual learners attend schools in which all educators share responsibility for their social and academic success. Multilingual learners are taught by effective, well-prepared, and culturally responsive educators who support them in attaining high standards and expectations in an assets-based learning environment. Nevada educators have the resources and professional learning they need to simultaneously advance student academic and linguistic development. Multilingual learners progress in school and graduate prepared with knowledge, skills, and abilities necessary for college and/or career readiness. Multilingual learners succeed educationally and contribute to a diverse global society. The purpose of the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents is to provide content teachers, EL educators, and school leaders with instructional tools to be used to successfully integrate the WIDA and Nevada English Language Development Standards with content area instruction leading to student mastery of the Nevada Academic Content Standards and academic English proficiency. In addition, the strategies included in the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents serve to build on the efficacy of teachers who make connections between best practices for multilingual and diverse learners and best practices for all students. The theoretical foundations for the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents are the WIDA Can-Do philosophy, Nevada ELD guiding principles, shared responsibilities as stakeholders, and Nevada ELD standards and EL proficiency level descriptors. Nevada uses the WIDA English Framework Development Standards Framework to support educators in leveraging student potential by focusing on what multilingual students can do. Both the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents and the WIDA standards have the same ELD standard statements and are steeped in the WIDA Can-Do philosophy. This philosophy holds that linguistically and culturally diverse learners bring a unique set of assets that enrich any learning community, and classroom instruction reflects an asset-based approach building on students' strengths and interests. The WIDA framework emphasizes 4 big ideas that constitute the underlying core values of the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents: equity of opportunity and access, integration of content and language, collaboration among stakeholders, and functional approach to language development. The Nevada ELD guiding principles are: Guiding Principle 1, teachers recognize and value multilingual learners' assets, home languages, cultural assets, existing knowledge, prior schooling experiences, and trains languaging abilities. Teachers leverage these assets to accelerate learning in English language development and content proficiency. Guiding Principle 2, teachers provide robust grade-level culturally and linguistically diverse instruction and content standards-based instruction to multilingual learners with intentional scaffolding designed to support their content understandings, language development, and analytical thinking. Guiding Principle 3, Teachers provide frequent opportunities for ELs to engage in extended discourse through multiple modalities, including oral, written, visual, and kinesthetic modes of communication focused on developing students' content understandings, language, and analytical thinking. Guiding Principle 4. Teachers provide opportunities for multilingual learners to develop metacognitive, metalinguistic, and metacultural awareness, and to use this knowledge to develop autonomy and monitor their own progress in content, language, and social-emotional learning. Guiding Principle 5. Teachers align assessment practices with content and language learning goals. Teachers use formative assessment practices during instruction to advance multilingual learners' content understanding and English language learning. Shared responsibility in keeping with the education imperative is the underlying expectation in the design of the Nevada ELD standards and instructional supports documents. That is a shared responsibility of all educators to embed the 5 guiding principles into all aspects of multilingual learner education. In 2012, the Nevada State Board of Education adopted the WIDA assessment system to measure language proficiency for English learners as required by Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESSA, as amended by the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, in 2015. The Nevada State Board of Education formally adopted the WIDA English Language Development Standards to align with the state's English language proficiency assessment. As seen in the table below, there are 6 WIDA English language proficiency levels. Level 1, entering. Level 2, emerging. Level 3, developing. Level 4, expanding. Nevada students exit at 4.5 or above on the WIDA access. Level 5, bridging. And level 6, reaching. Now let's take a closer look at one of these documents. The Nevada English Language Development Standards and Instructional Supports for Developing the Language of Science documents are structured the same as all other Nevada ELD Standards and Instructional Supports documents for math, English Language Arts, and Social Studies. Within each document, student and teacher moves are classified by proficiency level bands, including entering emerging, levels 1 and 2, developing expanding, levels 3 and 4, and bridging reaching, levels 5 and 6. Beginning with pages 2 through 7, each content area includes a table of contents. Section 1, Purpose and Organization, includes a graphic to help orient the reader with the organization and purpose of each section. A brief overview of sections 1, 2, and 3 are included, as well as a chart classifying the key uses of academic language: narrate, inform, explain, and argue. Section 2A includes student moves. Student moves are examples of what multilingual learners can do at varying English language proficiency levels. These student moves are differentiated by language communication modes: interpretive, reading, listening, and viewing, and expressive, speaking, writing, and representing. The charts provide sample language that students of the varying English proficiency levels can both process and produce with instructional support. Section 2B includes teacher moves. Teacher moves are examples of instructional supports provided to students to interpret and express academic language and content. These are general supports that all teachers can provide to students at different language proficiency levels that are often applicable across content areas. Descriptions of instructional supports used throughout this document can be found in the Go-To Strategies document linked in the introduction section of each document. Some examples include building background in key academic language and concepts, modeling orally the academic language and specific vocabulary, and providing explicit instruction and practice for students to construct academic responses using sentence and discourse starters. The list of supports are classified by instructional type. Section 2C includes teacher moves for student collaboration in the academic language. This section provides examples of actions teachers can take to support students to collaborate in the academic language using discourse structures of pairs, triads, and small groups. These teacher moves increase the opportunities for multilingual learners to use and sustain the use of the academic language and negotiate new content learning. A key attribute of the scaffolds and supports in Section 2 is the gradual release of responsibility to the students as their English proficiency levels increase. Note that the use of collaborative routines does not modify or change the content target or objective. In Section 3 of the Nevada ELD Standards and Instructional Supports document, we see the snapshot of key language uses from the WIDA 2020 ELD Standards Framework. This table provides descriptors of some ways students engage in each key language use throughout grades 9 through 12. Section 3 also provides examples of language expectations that are designed based on key language uses within content disciplinary practices. Let's take a closer look. First, let's look at Section 3A, Key Language Uses: Inform, Explain, Argue. An example language expectation for science disciplinary practice of the Nevada ELD Standards and Instructional Supports document contains a table of the content disciplinary practices from the Nevada Academic Content Standards and provides example language expectations for each prominent and most prominent key language use of academic language associated with the WIDA ELD Standard 4 Language of Science. As displayed, the disciplinary practice for the content area of science are labeled Science and Engineering Practices in Column 1. The remaining columns are dedicated to the key language uses of academic language for 9-12 Science. These key language uses are Inform, Explain, and Argue. Under each language use are exemplar language expectations tied to a science content disciplinary practice. For example, for the science and engineering practice, asking questions and defining problems, the language expectation for Explain is multilingual learners define, investigate questions or problems based on observations, information, and/or data about a phenomenon using abstract nouns to introduce concepts, ideas, and technical terms, effects, impairment, perception, antioxidants. These sample academic language expectations take into account the content disciplinary practice, the academic task, and the key language use of academic language. This content language integration enables teachers and other educators to plan for English learner academic success in the content area classroom. Teachers and other educators can use the provided language and expectations and academic language descriptors or others as these are only examples, to simultaneously support English language and content area proficiency. Section 3B, Teacher Moves of the Nevada ELD Standards and Instructional Supports document provides a table for each of the content disciplinary practices which contain possible teacher moves, practices, and scaffolding examples for each of the English proficiency levels. Section 3B is a further refinement of the teacher moves found in Section 2B. Section 2B provides strategies and supports general to the content area, but Section 3B provides strategies and support specific to each of the specified content disciplinary practices. Similarly, Section 3B success criteria is structured to correspond to each specified content disciplinary practice and is based on a prominent or most prominent key language use and language expectation. Section 3B, Teacher Moves, also includes success criteria, examples of how students will be able to demonstrate their learning of language and content at different language proficiency levels. Once success criteria is established by the teacher, it can be used by both the teacher and the student to gauge progress toward mastery of content and language and assist in setting the learning goals that ensure continued progress. These documents serve as a resource for educators to make informed decisions when designing and implementing simultaneous content and language development for the diverse and unique needs of the multilingual learners in their classrooms.